matters, and so does the St. Raymond Annatis Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith. Hi, I'm Anne DeSantis, Executive Director. In 2015, the Mercedarian Friars came together because they wanted to start a foundation to help families in crisis. And that's exactly what we've been doing over these years, whether it be something to do with divorce, separation, trauma, job loss, loss of a loved one, or other adversities. We've helped so many families get through those tough times through the spiritual works of mercy. We'd love to hear from you. Please do get in touch with us for our services. They are prayer, priestly consultation, podcasts and videos, and programs and events. We look forward to hearing from you. Just go to nonotus.org and get in touch with me. I look forward to hearing from you. God bless.
Fiat Ministry Network and Patchwork Heart Ministry present Journeys in Faith. Now, here's Anne DeSantis.
Good evening. Welcome to Journeys in Faith here on Fiat Ministry Network. This is Anne DeSantis. Thank you for joining us. I have a wonderful guest for you this evening. I have Camille Pauley. She is the founder and president of Healing the Culture. Camille, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Anne. It's good to be here.
Yes, it is very good to be here with you. You're coming to us from South Dakota. I'm in Philadelphia, but it's great to do this virtual interview where we can learn about the wonderful work that you're doing.
That's right. God brings us together, so it's almost like we're in the same room.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'd love to read your bio. You have a beautiful bio, and I don't want to miss anything either. Is that Camille Pauley is the co-founder and president of Healing the Culture, a nonprofit organization that evangelizes and converts people to be deeply, authentically, and permanently pro-life. Father Robert Spitzer, S.J., Ph.D., using his unique curriculum to change hearts and minds and build a culture of life, Healing the Culture has grown into an internationally recognized organization with tremendous influence in the culture battle over abortion and euthanasia. Camille has over 25 years of experience as a professional pro-life advocate and has inspired, trained, and educated millions on effectively defending the sanctity of human life. And so I thank also Carrie Klein for bringing us together for this interview. This show's called Journeys in Faith. And so we would just love to hear a little bit about your faith journey, because obviously your faith journey led you to what you're doing now.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I grew up in a Catholic family, an Italian Catholic family. My parents were both from New Jersey, and my mother's father had come here from Italy, and my father's great-grandparents had come from Italy. So I've got Sicilian blood in me and Neapolitan blood in me, and made for a nice combination, I think, for somebody who is all in.
That's right.
Italian people are kind of all in. And I learned my faith from my father. I learned the knowledge of my faith from my dad, and I learned the heart of the faith from my mom, which is often the case. And you put those two together, and I really had a desire not just to know my faith, but to deeply understand it. I had a lot of whys when I was young, and I poured into it. And fortunately, my dad was not intimidated by any of my questions, and he had answers. And if he didn't know, he knew where to go. And that, I think, is really important for young people, that if you don't know the answer, that you say, let's go find out and let's research it together. And that made all the difference for me in my faith journey. And I went to secular school, public schools, public colleges, public master's degree. And boy, all that knowledge from my dad was very helpful. The understanding of why I believed what I did was helpful along the track of fending off a lot of attacks against my religion and a lot of what otherwise would have been doubt and confusion. and really solidified it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. It's
Yeah.
always good to see that where it blossomed, right? Because
In the
obviously
home.
that's right. And you
Yeah.
had a very strong Catholic upbringing, which really made you into who you are today, I'm sure. It
Oh,
really
yes, very
did
much.
sculpt you into who you are today. So thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
I would love it if you would share with us about healing the culture. How did this nonprofit begin? I'd love to hear that.
Well, when I was in college, I had pro-life organizations that I started at both of the universities I went to. And I loved the leadership of it. I loved kind of taking the bull by the horns and gathering people together towards a common end and inspiring everybody to do really good things with a passionate heart. And I found out that I was really good at that. And so back in 1993, I went to work for the Washington State Right to Life movement in Seattle. It was called Human Life of Washington. They're still going strong today. I was their director of education for 10 years, and I was in my young 20s. They gave me this job to direct education, and honestly, Anna, didn't know what I was doing. I knew a lot about being pro-life. I didn't know a whole lot about directing education at that point. I had some background from the work that I did at the colleges, but boy, being on a statewide level with a whole organization is a whole different question. So I was thrown into the water. And I learned by doing, and I learned by a lot of mistakes. And fortunately, I had a team of people who were very, very affirming and good. But along the way, Father Robert Spitzer, who a lot of your listeners know from EWTN, yes, from Spitzer's Universe, or he's spoken near where they are. But he was on the board of directors for the organization. And he had this idea in his head that the pro-life movement needed more than what we were doing. It couldn't just be a bunch of practical arguments, visual arguments, emotional arguments, and slippery slope arguments. We needed a whole philosophical change in the mind and hearts of people for what they were living for. Because if people are living for the wrong things, they're never going to buy into your pro-life arguments. They're going to see the world in a whole different way than you see it. So they'll interpret the statistics and the arguments and the emotions in a completely different way than you want them to, because they're living for a different meaning of happiness and freedom and success and love and quality of life and, what a person is, all of those important terms. And so he and I worked together back in the early 90s on his book called Healing the Culture. And he dictated it to me because he's legally blind. He's now fully blind, but at the time he was mostly blind. And so I typed and he talked, and it was like getting a whole other college education. It was amazing. And I loved it. And he dictated his book to me twice. I read it back to him twice. And from that, I learned this incredible philosophy of the human person. And we decided to build a program to teach this. And then from there, it got so big, it kind of blew up. It went national, and then it went international. And we were in the United Kingdom and Canada and India. And so we broke off in 2003 to form our own organization called Healing the Culture. And we're very unique. All we do is teach this philosophical, if you will, grounding for why we are pro-life. So we're really trying to get people to change their whole mind, not just about what they think about abortion, but what they think about the entire meaning of human life and all those important terms.
Yeah, education is where it's at, right? I mean, also obviously prayer.
Yeah.
I think heartfelt prayer, because
heartfelt prayer. Yep.
Right.
And politics is important too. My husband is actually a pro-life. He's a pro-life leader in the political realm. So he does a lot of lobbying and testifying and trying to get laws passed. And that's really important too. We always like to say that, he's doing all the legal stuff and I'm doing all the education stuff, and they come together at the dinner table and make peace, and you have to have both sides. You have to have both lungs, if you will. So, but I've just always loved the education.
Yes. And you're doing a wonderful job. Now, I know that there's something new that's happening in terms of videos and education there.
Yes.
Let's unpack that a little bit. So exactly where can people find these videos, and what are some of the content? What will they learn when they watch the videos?
Sure. So we've just unveiled a brand new website, our latest version of who we are, and people can find it at healingtheculture.org.
Mm.
And on there, you're going to find several different programs. We have a curricula for high school students in a traditional brick and mortar school or in a homeschool. We have a curricula for kindergarten, first, second, third graders. We have a program for college students on their campuses. And then we also have a wonderful program for young adults and adults called Respect Life University. And if people go to healingtheculture.org, they can find Respect Life University right on the homepage. You click on it, and it's a whole series of videos that take you through all the pro-life answers to the hardest pro-life questions. And we do it through animation. We do it through longer videos. Father Spitzer has a curriculum series on there. And then I think what you're talking about is we just came out with a new series called Truth in 90 Seconds.
Yes.
Because you can never get too short these days.
That's
People
for
need
sure.
short and simple.
Very
And
true.
there's a need for people today to hear what you have to say in 90 seconds or even 60 seconds so that they can understand, is this something I care about? Or is this something that makes sense? And we find that when people listen to us for 90 seconds, they often want to go deeper. And then they're willing to listen to you for 5 minutes and then maybe half an hour and then maybe do more reading. So we hook them first with these Truth in 90-second videos. And they're a lot of fun. They cover everything from life of the mother, rape and incest. What about fetal disabilities, fetal anomalies? What about stem cell research? What about if the woman's going to be poor or, unsuccessful in her career? So we answer all these questions. And I think there are 10 videos up right now. There's another 6 coming out over the next few weeks. And we'll be producing a whole lot more over the next few years.
Oh, how exciting. How exciting. Now, we do have to take a short break. We have a lot more to talk about when we come back. So keep watching here with Camille Pauley and myself on Journeys in Faith. Be back in a few. Welcome back to Journeys in Faith on this Friday evening with Camille Pauley and myself to talk about all the wonderful work that she is doing with healingtheculture.org and the new 90-second videos that just came out recently. And let's go back to that a little bit more.
Sure.
So how did this idea of the 90-second videos to really just kind of get in there and educate, how did that come about? Because like you said, you can never make things too short these days for people to understand.
Well, believe it or not, it came out of the classroom. We have a curriculum called Principles and Choices that teachers use in the classroom for 9th through 12th grade. And the teachers were coming back to us, and parents, homeschooling moms who use the curriculum as well, were coming back to us and saying, I need some way to hook my kids first. I need a way to give them arguments that they could listen to and then get excited and then want to read the book. And we had other teachers saying, they're asking me these questions and I don't know how to answer them, or I'm not confident that I really understand what the answer is, or I don't think I agree with the pro-life answer to this question. So there were really those three different reasons why we came up with this series, so that pro-life people could understand and be able to articulate what we think about all these different hard cases, if you will, but also so that you could use them to capture students in the classroom. And we found that once we released the program, it was having phenomenal results in the classroom. We've had teachers writing us, telling us that their students are actually arguing against what we just said in the 90-second video. And then by the end of their argument, they find themselves suddenly taking the pro-life position, like they slip into it and don't even realize they're doing it because of what they've heard. And we have other teachers telling us that their kids can't wait for truth in 90-second time. You know, it's their 90-second fun that they have in their theology class or in their philosophy class. So we know that it's reaching people where they need to be reached to get the dialogue going in the direction it should be going, not just talking about, you know, an emotional argument or a story that you had, which are all important, but looking much deeper than that and really evaluating what the students believe about those important words. And those terms have been so co-opted. You know, our culture has stolen the meaning of the word love, that to be loved is to affirm me, or has stolen the meaning of success, that success is power and independence and health and wealth. And we need to steal those words back. And it's not that difficult. Sometimes you can do it in 90 seconds, believe it or not.
I love the way that you express that, steal them back, because you're right. The culture has taken them away. And there's so much that the culture is doing that's bringing about a negative consequence, a negative outcome, right? And so you're doing something about it. And I just love what you're doing. Now, what's the best way for people to connect with you and with the Healing the Culture? Is it through the website?
Through the website.
YouTube channel? Is there something else that?
Yep. I would say two ways. Healingtheculture.org is where you're going to find all of our resources for all of the age groups. And you can also get involved with us through that and connect with us through that website. But we have a YouTube channel, Healing the Culture. Look up Healing the Culture on YouTube. You'll find our channel with our little logo, and you'll find all those videos. You can share them. The Truth in 90 Seconds, our Philo and Sophie program, which is the program kind of like Sesame Street that we have for little kids, and a whole lot more videos on that channel as well.
I love the fact that you're covering all these age spans. You're starting with the really little ones. You're working your way through, you know, elementary or grade school, as we call it for Catholic school, right? And then bringing it up through the middle school area, high school, and then young adults, and then beyond.
Yeah. You know, Father
Spitzer
is, you know, he's way up here. He's way above me. And so we've always articulated our curriculum in college level and high school level. That's where we've been. But it was about maybe 8 years ago, that the superintendent of Catholic instruction at the Archdiocese of Seattle told me, you need to go younger because these kids are getting jaded even younger. You need elementary school. And I thought, yeah, okay. Oh, I don't know how to do Spitzer for kindergartners, but I'll try.
Well, you did.
And did. And I think parents will love it. We have high schoolers who love it, who watch it in their classes for fun when they're doing the high school curriculum. They'll take a break and watch Philo and Sophie. And I think your viewers will love it as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm excited for our viewers to watch because we get all kinds of viewers. Now, I'm the executive director also for a nonprofit. It's the St. Raymond Onotis Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith, which was founded through a religious order, the Mercedarian religious order. And we make the pastoral outreach to families in crisis. So I would say that people who are contemplating any kind of abortion or in that, not in the pro-life camp, that, you know, that is a family or an individual in crisis, because it eventually leads to a wrong road, doesn't it?
Yes.
It leads to a wrong road for our lives.
It does.
As people of faith.
Yes. And often that wrong road is started by making false assumptions. The assumption that quality of life is going to be, you know, a certain thing that is completely counter productive to our human nature. And so it's incumbent on us as Catholics, it's incumbent on us as pro-life people to change those wrong assumptions that people have about what will make them happy and what will set them free. Because you're right, they start out with the wrong assumption and then they make poor choices and then they end up on a road that does lead to crisis, not just a crisis of abortion, but in a whole other areas. I mean, look at today, a crisis of your own sexual identity and whether or not there's even such a thing as male and female. And next there's going to be, is there really such a thing as a human being? Are all animals just one thing and I could be anything I want? I mean, that's where we're going. And it all starts with these wrong assumptions about the meaning of those important words. They're so dignified when you see those words through a Catholic lens. And the culture is so capable in so many ways of destroying the meaning of those words. And we do have to steal them back.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I would also ask you, you're Catholic. I'm Catholic. I mean, a lot of our audience is Catholic, but is your organization, is it ecumenical? Is it ecumenical? In other words, is it for, say, Protestant Christians or
Yes,
non-Catholics,
absolutely.
people,
Yes.
people of good faith, of other religions, whatever? I'm thinking it is, because obviously you're
Yes.
evangelizing not just to people in our camp, but everybody, right?
Yeah, we
So-
speak and teach in secular colleges
Very
and
good.
universities and high schools as well. And we debate on secular campuses as well. Within the last few years, we did a debate at the University of California at Berkeley for about 700 college students who were 99.99% pro-abortion and rapidly
wow.
so. And by the end of it, of the dialogue, we had tons of students coming up afterwards to ask us questions. It was a 3-hour debate and they stayed around afterwards because they saw this logical consistency. And it was amazing. So you can have this debate without coming at it from a religious argument, kind of a pre-religious, a pre-evangelizing methodology. So yeah, our curriculum is for any religion or no religion. You can, you can find it very accessible, but we do also target a Catholic base. So we have materials that fit very well within a theology curriculum.
Sounds wonderful. Now, I'm guessing, as we're speaking to this audience here, I think this is a wonderful thing for, obviously, for churches and parishes, archdioceses, dioceses,
Yep.
universities. Let's talk about the diocese, archdiocese idea, because I'm thinking that this is something that would be wonderful for those people that work for the archdiocese to bring it in.
Absolutely.
Promote it.
We have programs.
Parishes.
Yep.
Tell us about that.
Yep. We have programs targeted for dioceses as well as for churches. On our website, healingtheculture.org, there's a program called Parish Partners. And you can go in there. There are scripts, pulpit talks for Respect Life Sunday. There are bulletin blurbs that you can print out and put in your bulletin. There are pew cards that you can put in the pews. And then we have a program called Life Principles Academy, which is also on the homepage. You can click on that. And that's where a diocese or an archdiocese can bring us in and we can do a whole training day or a retreat day for all of your staff, for all of your religious educators, all of your ministry leaders. We've done them in dioceses around the country, and we'd be happy to come in anywhere to put it on. And it really, what it does is it gives you a whole day of learning the curriculum, but more than just pro-life, right? Learning about what does the Catholic Church have to say about human happiness and freedom and love and suffering, and how do all those things fit together into a pro-life position, into a pro-life, point of view. And then how do I use all of that to evangelize my peers, even in scary situations or with my children,
there are
with my students, yes, or with my neighbor or my family. And we talk about all of that. And it's a very beautiful, especially when we do it in a retreat setting. It's kind of up to the diocese how they want to do it. But in a retreat setting, you get a chance to actually meditate on some of these things and take it into prayer and confession and rosary. And it's just really, I love the retreat setting. So we can do any of that in a diocese or in a parish.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I'm thinking that somebody's watching this show right now and they're not knowing much about what you do. So go to healingtheculture.org and just kind of, look at what's offered there, watch the videos. And maybe a next step would be for those same people to introduce it to your parishes, your archdiocese. I would think that's a good place to go, to school, university, wherever, to get the word out.
Grandchildren. We have a lot of grandparents who sign up for Philo and Sophie. It's all free, by the way. Philo and Sophie is a completely free curriculum. And it's got handouts and parent pieces and songs and, all kinds of activities, and it's all free. But we have grandparents who sit with their grandchildren afterwards, because a lot of grandparents babysit their grandchildren after school, and they watch the episodes with them and they learn the songs with them. And then they have we had one grandfather who told us that the curriculum, whenever his granddaughter does something wrong, it gives him something positive that he can say, Sophie wouldn't do that, right? And here's why. Remember that one episode? And so he has something to grasp onto that she loves, because she loves the characters. Sophie's a mermaid puppet, and Philo is a penguin puppet with a British accent, and kids love that. And there's Frank, the red furry monster, because you have to have a red furry monster in everything you do for kids these days. And they just, it really helps when you can orient it towards, here's somebody you love, here's a role model, even when you're a kindergartner, 5 years old. And here's why, Philo would never do that. Or here's why Sophie would say, oh, you shouldn't do that. And so it's been great to see how many different venues this program has been used in, and how many different people it's affected. I think we have over 6,000 subscribers now to Philo and Sophie, and it just released not too long ago.
It's very positive too, what I'm hearing, because there are so many messages that are being even subliminal to little kids, toddlers and 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, about who, like you say, who they are, and really what do we believe, what is good and what isn't good.
Yes.
And so what you're doing is those messages that you're giving are to teach them the true meaning of good and the true meaning of freedom.
Yeah. The jingle at the beginning of each episode, it has a little opening song, and it has this phrase, what's right, what's wrong, how do I know the difference in that song? And that's what the whole series does, is it helps these little kids understand, how do I know what's right and what's wrong and what the difference is? And we do it in simple, innocent ways that they get, funny ways, makes parents laugh. It's very funny and cute. There's song and animation and puppets and live actors. And by the end of the episode, these kids are actually understanding concepts like non-contradictions. Kindergartners understand what a contradiction is, and that you can't make a contradiction, and that the baby in the womb can't be a baby and not a baby at the same time. But we do it in ways that don't affect their innocence, right? That upholds their innocence. Yeah. So we don't talk about abortion, but we do talk about, there's one scene where Frank walks in, the monster, and there's this pregnant woman, and he says, oh, Katya, what did you eat for lunch? Your stomach is huge. And she says, that's not lunch, that's a baby. And he says, well, then it's a baby for you, but for me, it's lunch. See, and so that's how we can say, well, no, that's a contradiction. And she teaches him about that and shows him fetal development. So you can teach these concepts, these pro-life arguments to pro-choice questions for little ones before they even know what an abortion is.
So great.
Yeah.
Now, I would love for you to tell everyone now, are you a nonprofit? You are a 501c3?
We are a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization. Mm-hmm.
So I work for a nonprofit, as I said a little while ago. And so, those donations too are very important to you, people to subscribe, people to give to this beautiful ministry. Is there a donate button or a way that maybe Catholic investors can jump into?
Yes.
Let's talk about that before we end the show.
Thank you, Anne, very much for bringing that up. Right at the top of our homepage, as with most nonprofit organizations, we have a big donate button, and you can donate through our website with your credit card or through PayPal, or you can send us a check, or you can call me. My phone number is on that website. You can call me if you'd like to invest, but talk about where to invest and what different programs we have. And I would love to meet with anybody who's really excited about what we do. So I do invite that to get involved in some way, and pray for us. As always, please pray for us. We get a lot of attacks because we're very successful and very visible now. So we need prayer.
That makes sense. Yeah. I know that whenever we as a nonprofit, this prayers are always golden, and they're always number one. And then if someone is able to donate, that's always so appreciated. And I would say, please do. Go to healingtheculture.org. Now, are you on any of the, I know we talked about YouTube, but are you on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of those other places?
Yep, all of those. We're on all of those. LinkedIn. So if people like to follow us through those methods, we have, or through the social media channels, we upload all of our stuff, and you'll always know what's going on and when we have a new video released. Or if you subscribe, you can subscribe at Respect Life University, and then every time we release a new video, you get an email in your inbox that says the latest video is out, the latest Truth in 90 Seconds video is out.
Oh, I'm
so we invite
excited
people
about
to subscribe.
that.
Yep,
awesome,
and it's all free.
Awesome. Yeah, I love the fact that, as you said, it's free. There's so much there. Just want to invite everybody to please go to the website, subscribe, give, whatever you can do. Do you have any final words before we end, Camille?
You know what I do? I always end these interviews by saying hope. What our culture is lacking the most is hope. We talk a lot about faith and love, which is really important. Those are really important, but people forget about hope as a theological virtue too. And it's the lack of hope that drives people to the despair of abortion. It's the lack of hope that drives them to homosexuality and transgenderism and all the other things that are attacking people's souls today. So have hope and teach hope in God's unconditional love, and then do something about it, like logging on to healingtheculture.org.
Camille, thank you for your good work. Thank you for being a guest on Journeys in
Thank you,
Faith.
Anne.
We are so grateful to you and wish you all the best. And you'll have my own personal prayers, and I'm excited to learn more. And I'm sure
Awesome.
our audience is too.
Thanks for your ministry, Anne.
God bless everyone, and we'll see you here next week on Journeys in Faith with Anne DeSantis on Fiat Ministry Network. See you then.
Journeys of Faith is a production of Fiat Ministry Network and Patchwork Heart Ministry. For more information about Journeys of Faith, email info@fiatministrynetwork.tv. And be sure to friend, follow, and like us on social media. Just search Journeys in Faith with Anne DeSantis.